Okay, so let's get started. So basically, welcome seniors and friends. This is because we couldn't organize the brainstorm. It's a bit of because of the COVID restrictions still persisting, and I think I agree with Kanchonda that would have been socially irresponsible to proceed. So we decided to abort, but still alive. The baby is still alive. It's not totally aborted. It will come on later on sometime as soon as things open up. So while we are waiting, I thought we'll get two young guns coming up with two difficult cases which they tackle, and they will be shooting from the hip to all of us slightly middle-aged and senior people to pick our brains and also to find out our answers. And we'll just go ahead and see what they did. Without much ado, I think I'll hand over the mic to who wants to go first. Amrish, you want to go first?
Yeah.
Okay, Ritik, you'll go next. Okay, and we'll be on time. 25 minutes. We'll close down. Ritik, you're 25 minutes. Amrish, the stage is all yours.
Yeah, thank you. Good evening, sir. Kanchan sir, Swarnendu sir, Rajiv sir, and good evening, Arnav and Ritik. Agun to gina chuna charjani ache. So my case is. দেখা যাচ্ছে আমার এটা?
Yes.
Screen share হয়েছে, ঠিক. This is a case of total knee replacement in a complex severe knee osteoarthritis with a complex extra-articular tibial deformity. So she is a lady aged 69 years at the time of presentation. So this is 3 years follow-up. At the time of presentation, she was 69 years female patient, non-diabetic but hypertensive. And she had a history of fall 20 years back, leading to proximal tibia fracture, which was treated conservatively, and it got malunited. And she was managing with this, with unable to walk without support for long 20 years. So this was the picture at presentation. It's a complex extra-articular deformity. It was almost in the shaft of proximal tibia. Compared with other knee was reasonably all right. The compartments are okay in the contralateral right knee. Hip and hip X-ray was normal. Both hips were normal. And ankle and foot, she was having flat feet bilateral. Scanogram, I don't have a scanogram at present, but at that time it was there. So I planned for surgery. So while planning, I had following, just in brief, following options. Either I could have gone single stage or 2-stage procedure. And the consideration was ligamentous contractures are so severe in these cases, and that may usually needs extensive release of soft tissue. Bony cuts are very much tricky, and preoperative planning is very important in these cases. I could have options of constraint implants, and neurovascular bundle protection was one of the consideration. So regarding osteotomy, 1-stage intra-articular osteotomy only. So in a single stage surgery, if I planned for single stage, so it was intra-articular osteotomy only, which has been recommended by Ranawat, Chitranjan Ranawat et al. And they said that in most of the extra-articular deformity of tibia, intra-articular osteotomy only is sufficient to cover the extra-articular deformity and to give good result. 1-stage with extra-articular osteotomy, I mean intra-articular plus extra-articular osteotomy, and the next one was 1-stage with extra-articular osteotomy at 2 places. Because the deformity was severe, sometimes it may need extra-articular osteotomy at 2 places to correct the deformity. Sometimes we have options of two-stage surgery, which has been advocated by clamshell osteotomy, in which we do osteotomy months before, like 8-9 months before, and after the fracture osteotomy sites become sticky, then we go for TKR. So the two-stage surgery, Pingal Desai has advocated this, and this has been done at many occasions. But overall, the principle is, just to brief, the principle is the extraarticular deformity if it's more than 10 degree in coronal plane and more than 20 degree in sagittal plane, then it's inappropriate to go for single stage intraarticular osteotomy only. In that case, you have to go for extraarticular, some form of osteotomy and extensive release. So considering these things in mind, I opted for single stage intra-articular plus extra-articular osteotomy. Intra of picture, the limb was like this. And this is the cut during intra-articular few pictures. This is the extra-articular site depending on the cora. So I opted for this site and osteotomized this. And this was the pre-operative X-ray. So the osteotomy was as per the pre-operative planning at the center of the deformity. I took the help of C-arm and I just put this extender, which was 12 mm by 150 mm, and the spacer was of 8 mm. Now story begins. After 6 months, the osteotomy site remains this. It's still not uniting, but the patient was able to walk. She was doing her normal activities of daily living. Even after 14 months, the fracture site was still ununited. I talked with the patient and relatives and asked them to go for this bone grafting and plating because I should have done that in first sitting. But the party refused, and as because patient is very much comfortable, they didn't opt for second surgery. And this is the recent X-ray 1 month ago. So it's a hypertrophic non-union. Maybe fibrous union is there, but it's better than the previous follow-up X-ray. Not 3 years follow-up, the patient is able to sit cross-legged and she can perform her activities of daily living comfortably. So this is left side. She is able to bend her left knee like this. There is no pain and no tenderness as per the patient 1 month back. So my worries are, what should I do? Should I go for revision surgery, revision in the sense bone grafting and plating, or should I wait for the union, bony union? In the meanwhile, it may fracture through the extender. I have already explained the patient, but they are not convinced for surgery. So what should I do? This is the challenge for me. Because if it gets fractured, then it will be more troublesome for me to manage this.
I think Rajiv, you are the coordinator moderator, no? Rajiv and Chandan, I think.
Yeah, so calling for suggestions. He's calling for suggestions.
No,
What do you think?
Because who is the moderator? Moderator can question direct the questions to the people.
No, any of you. It's a very small group.
Otherwise,
so You start off.
I think the primary thing was that when Amrish, whenever you do this sort of extra-articular correction at the tibia and this much of degree, it is better to use the unicortical locking plate. That makes your surgery very simple, and that gives a stability, and the union with the unicortical locking plate with the long extender, the chance of union and the surgical steps becomes very simple. I think that is one probability. And if you see the last X-ray, whatever you have shown, it is basically one hypertrophic non-union. Basically, it is begging for one stability. So if it would have been given that at the index surgery, I think you could have achieved the union at the fracture site too.
Yeah, that I felt after 2-3 months after surgery, when I saw patient is working, doing her daily activities comfortably, but the fracture is not uniting. The problem is it was approx 2.5 to 3 hours long surgery, and at that time I felt that the extender is fitting well, and probably that won't allow any micromotion or any rotatory instability. But that is the message. In these cases, we should always add one at least derotational plate to prevent the rotation at the osteotomy site. So now what should I do?
Did you graft it primarily?
No, primarily I didn't graft it.
So the problem with these malunited fractures are the bone is very sclerotic at that area. Anyway, the bone is pathological in a way. I mean, because the bone is bent, it has had a previous fracture. The bone Haversian canals are not normal. So once you break them, the union rate is also lower. So again, if a bit of grafting along with stabilization, I think I'll add a grafting along with stabilization would be because you left a reasonable gap there. And at an osteotomy site, if you leave gaps, they don't do very well. So grafting with a fixation with a plate might have been a better idea. And at the moment, I think you will have to go in and bite the bullet, do a bit of shingling at the fracture site, put a bit of graft, and put a plate along with it. Chandanda, what do you think?
Three observations. Number one, only the long extenders in these cases, it won't serve. The point is, you are converting it to a single bone fracture that is prone for definite non-union in this case. Second, the upper part.
I didn't get what long.
No, you are converting it into a long bone fracture after osteotomy, isn't it? And proximally, the extender is absolutely fixed with the implant through cement. So proximal part is to some extent locked. The distal portion is not locked. That is the scenario. So there is always a micromotion, and what Dr. Samanta was telling, it is always preferable. You are exposing the huge area. So why not to add whatever sort of locking plate, even one or two unicortical fixation above and below. That is one part. Second thing is that I couldn't understand whether you performed osteotomy first or you did the tibial cut first. I thought that you performed your tibial cut first. Is it like that?
No, sir. Actually, I first osteotomized this proximal tibia, like deformity site, extra-articular.
Then it is okay. Then it is okay. That is absolutely fine. Even in the level you performed osteotomy, it was absolutely only a single locking plate with proximal and distal locking, even unicortical locking 3-4 cortex, even without extender would have done it. It is so in the mid third. That was my observation.
Chandana, the one worry about it is, especially osteotomy sites, you see there's a gap in the osteotomy.
Yeah,
that is one.
Plenty of bone graft in your hand.
That's what backing up. Make sure there is you don't see gap. You don't see a gap. There's a rule. So if you're doing osteotomies anywhere, either do a compression plating. You can't do a compression plating here. So pack it nicely with bone graft. Okay. Whatever bone you've taken, good, nice, mosserized, cancerous graft, if you have packed it there, along with a fixation, you have done the trick.
So after osteotomy, I was having a lot of problems in maintaining the osteotomy site. So if I
could have put a plate.
Plated nor retrograde, I think that would have been better option for me. Even the time could be just less than what I did.
I think Amrish, that is the trick. I think probably the seniors like Chandan, those who are Rajiv, and Rakesh, and for those who are doing in great numbers, that whenever you do an osteotomy, if you just feed a plate, your surgery becomes simple and your cuts become simple. Otherwise, if something is dangling in between, you don't judge why you are cutting the tibia because there is no reference point.
Yes.
That is the problem.
I think, can I come in? Hello?
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, Vikas.
So,
No, because you can comment, but your video should be visible.
okay, my face is not worth being visible. That's why I am.
No, but your voice is so beautiful. We must see your face.
Okay. Thank you. This can only come from you, from nobody else but you. So I hope I'm visible now.
Yeah. Now it is
So
visible.
the biggest issue which I'm seeing here is one, that fibula has not been osteotomized.
That is the thing. I think I was also going to tell that.
Echo, if the fibula you have to take out when you are doing an open closing wedge, you have to take out about 0.5 centimeter of fibula in the safe zone, and that would give you a good compression and railroading of tibia, which would convert the forces and it would unite. So all these issues, I think this addition has to be done in your technique next time when you do a closing wedge osteotomy to correct any deformity. Here, your fibula is acting as a bowstring, and it is preventing the compressive forces. So that's why this union has not happened.
I think what Vikas has told, that it is a gem of a word, because when we do like correction in the ileocecal surgery, the first surgery we do is on the fibula. So unless you do an oblique osteotomy or else you take at least 1 or 2 centimeter of fibula, then tibia is not going to match in your place. So that part is the primary stage of your surgery.
What sort of osteotomy did you do, Amrish? Did you do a closing wedge or an opening wedge?
No. You do. You just is a base to
No, not that. I'm asking Amrish. What osteotomy?
It was medial opening wedge.
Medial opening wedge. Okay.
No. Your fibular your tibia distal osteotomy. That was a closing wedge osteotomy. What you did in tibia in the diaphysis.
Just show it. Immediate post-op.
That is a closing wedge.
Immediate post-op.
Immediate post-op.
You see the pre-op X-ray and the post-op X-ray?
Yeah.
You have done a closing wedge osteotomy. So you see the fibula, your fibula is bent now. It is under stress. So the technicality of surgery, you need to sort it out, there.
Well, can I add something here?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, carry on.
Hello.
Kanchana.
Yes.
Kanchana, bola.
See, I think Amrish, you've done a good job. We may have done it differently. And I think everybody's point, I always use a plate. There's one thing you could have done, but the fact you didn't do made it a little easier for you during surgery. The moment you osteotomize the fibula and then osteotomize the tibia, everything becomes very unstable. And then putting in a rod becomes a little difficult. So in that case, you have to put a preliminary plate fixation on the tibia. But most of us, I think, use a rod and a plate and a fibular osteotomy. But what you can do now is, you have a hypertrophic non-union there, there's 3 years down the line, do a fibular osteotomy now. It's a much smaller job.
Yeah.
And there's a good chance it's going to unite.
It will unite.
Yes. Just do a fibular osteotomy now.
Bone grafting. No, just
when you're going there, do the whole, you can do the whole 9 yard. You can do some bone grafting, you can do your femisters, whatever, the older things that but do a fibular bone graft, fibular osteotomy. That's the primary here. In this, but you have got hypertrophic non-union, you've got some aberrant callus coming in. I think even if you don't put a bone graft, if you just do a fibular osteotomy, it's still going to unite.
It will unite. Correct.
But having said that, you've done a very good job.
Good job. Indrada, any comments on this? Till we go to the next one.
I think he has 2 questions. One, what he should have done at that time, which has been more or less discussed. And he is also pretty clear that he would have done a plate if he gets a second time around a case like this. The problem now is what to do. What is he going to do if the patient is refusing any other operation? She is comfortable. She is walking around. She's doing everything. And she has no real motivation to do an operation. Now, we can advise many things, but what if she doesn't do it? That is the issue, how to convince her to make sure of this. The second point is, so a fibula osteotomy is fine, no matter how small, but if she does consent to an operation, then a plate graft is called for, together with fibula osteotomy, whatever. Because you can't do it a third time around. This has to be done properly. Just another point I'd like to issue, Amrish, did you do the osteotomy by a saw?
Yeah, I think so, because it's 3 years. It was done 3 years ago, so probably yes, I did it using saw.
Yeah, so the thing is that if you do it by a saw, then absolutely necessary to put in grafts, especially in the shaft of the tibia. And
Because it damages the nearby bone, isn't it?
Indra, the new generation does not even know how to do an osteotomy with hand drill followed by an osteotome. It's all saw now. So we kill bone cells here.
What I was trying to point out is if there were several drill holes made for the saw to go through.
Yeah. You're going there next.
Yeah, you would have got some bone graft, whatever raw areas in that.
Okay.
And a DeBastianus. Use a DeBastianus osteotome. That protects the soft tissues.
Yeah.
So saw kills the nearby bone. Oh, I got it.
Right.
But the patient is 72 years aged now at present, and she is pretty happy. So she doesn't want to go for second surgery. That is the problem. I tried my best to convince her twice, but she is happy.
Don't convince her, warn her.
Warn her.
Don't convince her, warn her.
Warn her.
You know, you will be safer and patient will be probably going for surgery.
And document that you have told her. That's very important. Every time you document.
Yes.
Okay, so shall we roll on? So Amrish, thank you. Wonderful case. A lot of things we learned. So just summarizing what I learned from this. Initially, if I'm going to do an extra-articular osteotomy, especially with the lines going across, if my corrective line goes across the femur, then I do an extra-articular osteotomy. Extra-articular osteotomy should be a low velocity osteotomy. Possibly don't use saws. While you're doing the osteotomy, put a protective plate so that you hold while you're doing it, because otherwise it wafts about. So put a unicortical screw, one screw and a plate to hold it. Then you do a tibial cuts. Do a fibular osteotomy along with the same while you're doing the tibial osteotomy, so that area will heal at some point of time. Go ahead, do a knee replacement, and then add a few more screws to the plate that you have already got in. Put some bone graft in that area. This is what I learned, I think. Amrish, if you want to.
Fibula osteotomy at the same level, tibia and fibula, or at different level?
Different level.
Different level. Do a sliding osteotomy. I just do a sliding osteotomy. Or you can take but now if you're going to do osteotomy, you have to take a segment of bone off, and along with it, you have to have some stability there. It is a hypertrophic non-union, which means it's a slight unstable area. There's some instability, but there is biology. So just fix it with a plate, bit of bone graft. It should heal off along with an fibula osteotomy. Okay, so with that, thank you, Amrish. Wonderful case. I think we roll on to Ritvik. This is the first gun has fired, and quite an interesting case. Made us think. So can you just unshare your screen, please? Right. Ritvik?
Yes, sir.
The stage is all yours.
Sir, my presentation is bit, it is basically some controversies are there. So it is a question answer sort of presentation would be better, I think.
Excellent.
So this is a case of this is a 57-year-old lady come to us with the history of surgery 5 times before in South India, and she has come to us with this type of knee. it has been operated total 5 times, including primary surgery. And first there was an infection, and after that the DR has been performed twice a day, but there is no available data as because they told that the data are in their software, so they don't provide it. I have only seen the X-ray, previous X-ray. That was the previous X-ray. And it is the recent presenting condition of the knee. And the lady is also a diabetic and poorly controlled, and primary surgery was done in November 2018. And apart from primary surgery, 4 times she has been operated in 2 different hospitals in South India. So this is a presenting X-ray. So I just want to know, sir, how should I proceed in this case? It was 1 year follow-up. Patient came us 1 year before. It was a grossly infected. Yes, sir.
Is there any sign of discharge? It is still discharging, or the infection has stopped?
Yes, sir. It is
so
still...
the plate is exposed. This is the okay.
The plate is exposed. Everything is discharging. Everything is discharging.
Everything is discharging, sir.
Even the plate.
Even
the plate is
the plate is discharged.
So
I think Ritik.
And sir, one thing, patient told us to just ampute my leg. Okay, I am not bear any sort of pain and all these things. Okay, so how should and emotionally he is very broken at the point of time.
No. If even the amputation, if the patient's choice, that can be a choice, but it is very hard to digest from the surgeon.
Yes,
so
sir.
Being the surgeon, when the ego involved in our being the surgeon, probably we will try to salvage it. Yes. Now, amputation is a very 5 minutes job. It can do it, no problem. But if we are going to salvage it, then we have to plan accordingly. Okay. So you take out everything, whatever is there, and rule all your parameters from whatever investigation you have to do, and take out everything, span it, take out even the whatever necrotic bone, your plate, your cement spacer, and you just put another one spacer with the X-Fix on. That is my choice.
I would. My choice will be take out everything, follow debridement and Ilizarov, and definitely Ilizarov with knee orthosis in the same sitting, because and you might require a plastic surgeon's help to cover the tissue. But there's no other option left other than this fusion by Ilizarov or amputation. There is no other third option left, I think.
Ritik, is she diabetic?
Yes, she is diabetic, and I am proceeding.
So what about vascular status?
Yes, the neurovascular is okay. There is already 3 centimeters of shortening. She is afebrile now, and these are the parameters at the time of presentation. She is uncontrolled diabetic. HbA1c is too high, and ESS-CRP is also very high.
I mean, she's at a tipping point. Be very careful, because with such a bad infection, all exposed with that amount of sugar, everything is just about to tip over. You need to go in now, take everything. First is get a debridement, remove everything, remove necrotic bone, put a X-Fix, and then think what you want to do. So here I would order a LRS rather than a normal X-Fix. There's a lot of cantilever forces.
Yes, sir. We have done it in a staged manner. This is the paper of BMC. It shows the knee orthodesis versus above knee amputation in septic failure of revision total knee arthroplasty. There is a comparison, and it shows that there's in young patient with proper physical and mental status may benefited from the above knee amputation than knee arthrodesis. And knee arthrodesis should be preserved for physically challenged patient where there is multiple comorbidity. And there is another one paper from JBJS, is a salvage option in multiple operated patient. It shows the amputation only should be indicated when there's a life-threatening infection and where there's a very low chance of successful arthrodesis and the lowest level of infection eradication but good maintenance of the function. There was another paper. The amputation as a complication of TKR is a real concern or is a discussed. It is in the 2020. It shows there is a prevalence of amputation in terms of failure of complicated TKR. The incidence is 0.1 to 10% in different study groups. And the amount, the percentage of amputation is 5.1% due to infection. This is about the monolateral X-fix, the LRS system. The arthrodesis can be done by intermedullary system or arthrodesis system by external fixator LRS, but with such of infection, with a fluoride infection, and it shows there is a possible progressive adjustment can be done if X-fix can be done to achieve the fusion, and it can correct my malalignment. And where there's a lower risk of infection, intermediary rod can be used. And we have removed everything. We remove the spacer plate and we take the tissue biopsy from 6 corner, send for culture sensitivity, gram stain, and gene expert biopsy everything. And there is no growth, obviously. And as the bone condition is very poor, we don't want or we don't able to put the X-fix in the primary scenario. The bone condition is very porotic, and we only put spacer. And as we can see, there is stability at the posterior part of the knee, and there is a absent patella. The extensor mechanism is totally deficit. So we make the patient, everything we take out, we put spacer, and at the follow-up, the wound was healthy, the scar is also healthy, and she works with support with mild pain with the spacer and without X-fix and everything. And her HbA1c is 9.5 and ESR-CRP is decreasing. Now the patient lost follow-up. She again came around this year March. We have discussed that we have to remove the spacer and we have to put LRS, but they just lost follow-up and came in the March. What we have done, and this time the infection is controlled, and the diabetes is also a bit controlled. We have exposed, remove everything. We put the ipsilateral fibula and iliac crest bone grafts, and then we put LRS. This is an immediate post-op picture, and this is a recent X-ray. This is a 4 months follow-up, and she walks. This is her. Yes. We can see the amount of shortening. The heel is raised. And the wound is now fine so far. So any different opinion, sir? Or anything can be done?
How long has she been on antibiotics?
Sir, she has been antibiotic for long duration since the index operation from 2018. Initially IV, then oral antibiotic has been given.
No. Who has advised those sort of antibiotics? The primary surgeon.
Yes, sir. Not only the primary surgeon. The first three surgery was done in one center, and last two surgery was done in another center. So
that too in South India.
Yes. That was in South India.
Okay.
Should I name the institution?
No. No names.
Okay.
No, because I was thinking of this the third option. Hello. Third option was sending back the same patient to the primary surgeon.
But they refused.
They won't.
Ritvik.
Yes, sir.
Ritvik, when you went in the last time and it looked very nice and clean, just a thought process. If the CRP ESR preoperatively had come down to near normal levels and the glycosylated hemoglobin is well controlled, what about using a long nail down?
So
Rajiv, can I come in?
Yeah, come in.
Yeah. So, Samantha, answer to your question, she has been discharged from South India. So once discharged, you don't take these people back. And second is, if you look at Ritik, all these patients, when they are being salvaged in series abroad, it's not normally with a plate because the tissues here are so bad. Trauma situation is a different case where you want to do arthrodesis. But when post TKR, the tissues here are so bad that the bone forming potential of that local area is very poor. So either if you use like a plates, which we normally advocate, like AOA advocates, DCP plates on both sides. So that is not an option for us in a very infected and ugly looking tissues here. And the answer to these are very customized nails. And if you look at the series, and I'm sure Rajiv also remembers, the first nail which came out for this was called a Medway nail from Kent. Yeah, from a place in London. So they used to make this special Medway nails and it used to come in different sizes. And it's got a broader nail on top and a smaller size nails on bottom, and you would get different permutations and you can order one. So based on these, I've had a couple of these cases few months ago, and one actually just during the last lockdown, so which was around March, April. So at that time, during the last one, which I realized was that we can actually make this in India. It's not difficult anymore because the 3D printing is very common now in our country. So I got the whole size done of the femur, tibia, and length is not such a huge issue. The tibia length is not a big issue. You can stop in midway, you can come till thing. You don't have to go all the way till ankle. So tibia length is not an issue. Femur length is very critical because that is a bigger size diameter. And then the area in the tibia requires a slight curve, because if you see the angle, the tibia doesn't come straight away down. It's not a straight nail. So it will have to angle. So we actually make those measurements. We did the diameters and we got the nail made actually. So it's possible. And they took exactly 5 days to do that. So it's not something very difficult to do even in our country, in our scenario. Of course, it's been made in Gujarat. So I can give you the name of the companies who will do that for you. But it's possible now. We can actually salvage them with nails, and I think which is a better way because you have a locking nail. You can actually put and make them walk straight away, and they'll actually help healing.
Rakesh, Sharma actually stocks these nails. I have done 2 cases with them over the last.
Rajesh, Sharma ka problem hai, the quality of the nail is so bad that actually by the time it comes from femur to tibia, it starts angling. The same problem with Sapan's nail.
So uska, because Chopin used to make it, but Chopin stopped it. So Sharma, I've used
Chopin ka
two
bhi
of
same
them.
problem tha, because either he made the diamond nails, which were okay, but diamond nails are straight. Then he made this femur nail, which are cannulated. The problem with these was it was so hollow that by the time they used to cross the tibia, they would start angulating.
And the important thing is the tibia is that you have to go just beyond the isthmus. You can't leave them too short. Otherwise,
not too
there's
short,
too
but
much
you
at all.
don't have to go all the way till ankle.
Just about just cross the isthmus and leave them.
So it is
So I've
possible.
done two
So
of them.
next time, do think
I've done
about it.
two of them. I've done two of them. One survived for about 3 years post and then finally died, and one is still alive. Let me dig out the X-rays. I used both of Sharma's nails actually. I agree with you. Getting the nail across was very difficult. Now there is I think Stryker are making one. You can order them. It's a bit
Now
costly.
most problem is we can't go for different lengths from a striker, but in our country we can make from our, and the nails were really good quality. I'll tell you, they were fantastic nails. The quality was absolutely good.
Sir, but there is a one question that using the nail, the reinfection after arthrodesis is much more if we use the nail than the X-Fix. So, and this is a paper in 2018.
Yeah.
It shows there is a increased rate of reinfection after arthrodesis in 10.6% in case of IM nail and 5.4 in case of external fixator. So in this,
so Ritik, don't get dissuaded just by looking at one aspect of the operation. You are looking at reinfection, which is very low anyway. Look at the arthrodesis rate. That is should be your prime target to look at. And arthrodesis rates will be far superior in a nail compared to arthrodesis. In case you get infected, just take out the nail. It can be taken out once the arthrodesis is done.
And the other worry with the external fixator with such poor bone quality, look at your distal pin was already bending a bit. You can have fractures through the pin sides.
The forces are tremendous on these fixators. So they are not really very good. And you yourself said the bones were very porotic. So you're expecting a lot from these fixators.
Ritik, the main problem is that if you use this LRS sort of unilateral fixator, it is very, very hard to achieve the arthrodesis around the knee. So I think nail is though your literature is showing 5% of difference, but still either you use the long nail which fixed both the tibia and femur, or else you use the circular sort of fixator, as this bone is really poor because it is already been 5 times operated. So LRS is never a choice for achieving the union. I think even if you apply this LRS for 8-9 months, still you will get a fibrous union, not a bony union. That I can certainly tell you.
That's true. You get just a fibrous union.
How long is the follow-up of this LRS?
Follow-up. Yes, the follow-up is we have operated in the March and it's a 4 months follow-up, and we have seen the recent X-ray. This is the recent X-ray.
How many got bone across pitching? Because for the fibula to become a really strong, it'll take about nearly a year, 12 months to a year. So Calandrucio clamps. Sunit is asking about the old. What about the old system? Charnley clamps and Calandrucio clamps.
Yes, Calandrucio clamps are okay. It's very good because that gives the around 360.
Charnley clamps.
No. Calandrucio clamps are extremely good because that gives the 360-degree compression around the surface. It is extremely good and very simple. Only 2 pins above and 2 pins below, and you can compress from the side. It is very good. It is, I think, it is time tested, but it is very difficult to keep now. That is the problem.
Samanto, again the same issue comes. The local, whatever you put, tends to get infected very soon. So better avoid anything which is going from the skin into the local tissues in that area. It's very poor. Yeah.
Because if you see the lateral film,
and Charnley is useless now. Charnley is too small.
It just crumbles.
Yeah, Charnley crumbles. So Charnley is no good. Even on table, you'll see when you're tightening, it crumbles. For ankle, it still might be an option. For knee, I don't think it's an option anymore.
To see the lateral film, the bone is just like paper-like.
But I think in Ritik's case, he's getting away with this. It looks like he might get away with this.
Yeah, I think the fibula, when it's caught, if it corticalizes, will give it enough strength. Hopefully, in about 12 months' time. So, how long are you planning to keep the X-Fix on, Ritik?
Sir, I am planning for at least 6 months till there is a visible amount of.
I mean,
more
change the
solid-
pins at some stage, I think.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes.
And later on, you can probably go for a brace. So from fixator,
Yeah.
transfer that into
Yeah,
a
brace.
brace.
And Ritik, when you remove the pin, please give a cylinder cast for another 3-4 months, so
Yes,
that
sir.
there is no chance of
We,
bending.
Fracture through the.
Otherwise, definitely this is going to create any fracture either at the your proposed arthrodesis site or else might be in the vicinity of the femur or the tibia.
Yes, sir.
yes, Ritik, I think, can I come in a little bit?
Yes, sir.
It's very nicely done, and you really lucked out because you've got it so well done. And it's a good thing that the knee is short, the limb is short, so you'll find it easier to, clear the leg. But the issue about the union rate, just like what Rakesh has said, with X-ray, the union rate is not great. And
Yes.
because the healing potential in these kinds of bones is so bad, even with the fibula, we have had a case where Shudipto on the other helped me. And first I used one of those LRSs. I used an original orthofix, but it came apart. And then Shudipto put in a Elizarov frame, which we kept for almost 1 year. And it looked wonderful. We took it out, kept him in a cylinder plaster for about 6 months. By this time, of course, I had palmed him off to Shudipto, who was taking care of him. And a very cantankerous man, very reticent about all the surgeries he's had before that, quite forgetting that we got him only for those last couple of surgeries. So he was walking about very good, very nicely. And then one day, the whole thing came apart. But even when it did come apart, it's not like a broken bone. He still had a great deal of fibrosis around him. And the last I saw him was he was walking about in a brace and making do quite well. So this one, I think you should keep the X-Fix as long as you can keep them before they start weeping around them. And like Shonendu has just said, change it for a cylinder plaster or some form of a complete brace. You can get a good cylinder molded brace for him, which you breathe,
Yes.
which is easy for him. Keep it for as long as you can. It's going to be straight anyways. Even if it's for the rest of our life, it doesn't matter. But if this breaks together with the fibula inside, you'll be in trouble.
Yes, a patient will come for follow-up after 2 months. I will do that if needed.
Can I come in?
Yes.
I would really, probably because of the age factor, but I would not have gone for any reconstructive procedure in this case. I would have gone for amputation, amputation, and amputation. I don't know what the literature says, but what it says, but I would take a vascular surgeon along with me, do a Doppler, do what their pocket Dopplers and all that, find out the level in which the circulation is there, and really chop it off. That would save problems for us. That would save problems for the patient, because nowadays the processes are so good that they can walk about very well. It's a psychological part of it is there. Now, all of this that we are discussing of the nail and the X-Fix and all that, the results are going to be totally unpredictable. You cannot say that this is going to unite. You cannot say this the external fixator will not break. You cannot say that your nail will be too good. If you want a true predictable thing, then the only thing is an amputation. And that amputation at the proper level with a proper stump, and then put in a brace. I know that is old-fashioned. That is sort of, not really surgical in one way, but that would be the solution in this case. 5 times operated, 6 times, 7 times, 8 times, 9 times, it will become a Mahabharat.
Indra, আমি একটু বলবো?
হ্যাঁ।
So Indra, তোমাকে amputation করতে গেলে these actually end up with an above knee amputation. So you're looking at if you want to actually fit a knee joint here, you need about 10 centimeters at least above the knee joint.
Yes.
Right. So because you want to get the knee joint the same level as the other side. Now 10 centimeter above for these ladies who are slightly older, very fat, and the processes which you fit requires 3 times the energy compared to a below knee amputee. So for them, many of them, it becomes almost impossible to use and walk. So I think with arthrodesis, there will be, even though it may fail, but they will have a chance of actually walking. With a prosthesis, I think with this lady, like these type of ladies, we're not talking about younger people, they probably will not be able to walk. So it's not a bad idea to consult a prosthetic person, and then they have a better idea with these patients whether this patient will walk or not.
From whatever cases that we've done in which we have done all this X-fix attempts at arthrodesis, most of them have gone on for a fibrous ankylosis and they've managed with a brace, etc. for some time, but they're not happy. The ones that you amputate, even in this older age group, they have gone with a, and the most important thing is not only are they relieved that they're not a burden on the family, but the family is relieved that at least this lady can go about walking. They can. Even with an amputation stump and a prosthesis, even if they take a stick, they can go by themselves to the bathroom. They can walk around. I would still feel that the best option in these sort of cases, 5 times operated, and now 2, 3 indefinite number of operations in front, an amputation would solve all the problems considering everything.
Imagine this is my leg or your leg. What would you do for yourself? What would you want for yourself?
Amputation.
I would say that it's an amputation.
For yourself?
Walk as soon as possible as I can. And I don't want to be a burden on anybody going to the hospital in and out with an unpredictable futures in front.
To discuss how many of us would want amputation? I mean, can we have a voice?
Before this, I have a question for Indruda. Indruda, your patients, have you had a few of your patients who you had to amputate? And how are they dealing with the prosthesis? I have 2 of my relatives. I have not. I mean, they're both in UK. And they're in this age group, 16, slightly older, in the mid-60s, they're about age group, and they have had repeated infections, and they've had a go at an intramedullary nail, the custom built, the top of the line arthrodesis did not work, and then they were offered prosthesis, and they were giving guidance. They had to go to different places. One of them had it, one of them did not. The one who had it just couldn't. She's the younger, stronger one. She just could not handle the prosthesis. And this is the highest end prosthesis. It's the center of it is in close to Manchester. Where was it? I forget. Close to Manchester, and it's located there. An Indian guy, Patel, is in charge of that. She just could not handle it. She's not been able to handle it still. She's had 3 or 4 prostheses changed.
I mean, Norwich Norwich. That's what some Patel, I forgot his name.
Yeah, and the other lady was primed for surgery, and then she said, "No, I'll deal with this whatever recurrent infection coming in. He's not good. She's going in for not going for surgery, but she's not that bad in the sense she has occasional, pouring of pus. So that's what I was asking. Your patients, how have they handled with the prosthesis?
Yes, that's it. I think they have handled it very well. They are walking, they are going around. You see, it's a society which is the difference.
So I used to work for Dundee Lymphatic Center. 6 months, all my job was to do amputations and fit their prosthesis. That's what I did for a whole 6 months. So Amit most of these elderly people can't handle prosthesis.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a different society. So here, our resilience part is much more. They can handle the processes, and the best feeling about these patients is that they're not a burden anymore. They're 60 plus and diabetic, that they're not a burden on their family. They can at least wobble about, go to the bathroom, and no prospect of any further operation. That is the whole thing. The psyche is different, totally different.
Can I butt in here with Rakesh's comment?
Rakesh? Even an amputation in these cases, you cannot always guarantee that the wound will also heal primarily. I have had amputations, 4-5 operation to get that amputation.
That's because Rakesh, that's because you did it. Let somebody else do it.
No. It's about general information.
Plastic surgeon.
Plastic surgeon do it. Get a plastic surgeon to do it.
My latest.
I have got one of the best plastic surgeons.
Golashes ones usually don't have problems.
Yeah.
Golash does.
My latest theory is that all amputation should be done by plastic surgeons.
Agree with you there. See, coming to the power conservation, I think with the new Ottobock ones, there's a lot of power conservation. You don't need to put in that much amount of power. that Rakesh you're talking about, those are older.
It's about the above knee. Below knee ones are fantastic.
No,
Rajiv. I have
above
no
knee,
problems.
above knee. This is power. They have power distribution systems, hydraulic power distribution systems below. They hardly have. Can't find a difference much with them. I agree with the problem fitting. That's the only problem. Otherwise, the power distribution is exactly the same nowadays. Speak to the Autobot guys; they'll tell you.
Oh God, I know Munmun inside out, man. She's just my neighbor also.
Munmun Sattar, yeah, I know.
Yeah, Munmun Sattar. She's my neighbor here. She stays in Hyderabad.
Okay. Any further comments?
No, but I think very good.
Chandra wanted to comment. Chandra?
Told Ritik.
No, actually, what I was going to say that Indra is being so much experienced now, he's going for a very safe procedure to be on the safer side by doing the amputation. But people obviously will try to conserve it. And in this particular case, I think it may work if after he removes this X fix and put a cylinder later on, it might work.
No, Indra, coming back to you. At what stage in an infected TKR would you say that amputation I'll offer? And after how many surgeries? Or at what stage?
If I cannot control the infection and I've done whatever the debridement, the cement spacer, or some of the fixators, I've tried arthrodesis and it's not working. So,
but see, before the patient came to Ritik, like before he's come to you, you wouldn't try anything because all these things have been done by somebody else.
Right.
And you've seen the sequence, even the last plate which has been applied. So you're not even sure about the quality at which the attempt was made.
Yeah. The discussion, the surgeries that he's gone through, it's a great trauma to a patient having one surgery. And then having repeated surgeries is a great. I would still say the moment that Ritik got it, if patients agree, if the parties agree, probably they'll want one shot at Kolkata after having exhausted South India. So what he did and what is the situation now is perfect. And it's really Ritik would go ahead with it. I would really say do go ahead with it if the patient is willing. But if there is doubts and if there is, I would offer the amputation right from the moment you got it and warn them that it can lead to amputation anytime. And anytime they want to opt out of these reconstructive procedures, they can only ask for it and we'll amputate.
Right, we had a lovely discussion. I think 2 very good cases, and we've just on time. It's 7 o'clock. So, Ritik, can you come off from screen?
Yes, sir.
I think we had a very good discussion, and all of us really enjoyed. The young guns really fired well.
Yeah, really.
Okay, and we'll keep this rolling along till we come to the real brainstorm. Thank you, everyone, and on behalf of Vikas had to leave because he's actually giving a lecture on the Bihar platform just now. So. He just left, so he's asked me to thank everyone on his behalf, and thanks everyone again from WBS, from WBOA. We'll keep these meetings going, and I'll keep you posted. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night and a good weekend ahead. For the WBOA people, go ahead with your meeting now. I pity you. You have yet another meeting to go to. I'm going to enjoy my whiskey. Thank you. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Good night.